Well, it's officially the off season. Had the exit interviews, recap, reshuffle, rethinking, retooling. It all begins now. You're on the Terradome.
Turn it up, Gino.
And what's up, everybody? I got 1032 on 122, 2026. I am Terradome. I'll be your host for a little while. We'll recap and reshuffle and rethink everything that was the divisional weekend and going forward to what is a San Francisco 49ers less championship week. Mainly boils down to the final four. Of those teams, we are not. No big news flash there. We're also going to discuss the coaching carousel and how it pertains to us as well as the rest of the league. And I don't know, maybe look at some of these autopsy photos of the game that was or was not the San Francisco 49ers versus the Seattle Seahawks. I saw a few things here and there. I know it's been going over ad nauseum with some of the other content creators, some of the good ones in the business. I know probably Johnny Dales is doing a little something, and JT O'Sullivan might have a little something, but it was just rough sledding, y'all. It wasn't nothing else you could do. It was just a hard day's night when it starts off rough and just gets a little rougher. You got to either get tougher or you just weather the storm, man, and batten down the hatches. And speaking of storms, everybody in the continental U.S. is probably bracing, most of you. I know my constituency of the Californians, the Golden Domers, because it's all good from the Bay to Sonoma, all across the country be a Golden Domer. But if you're in the South, if you're in the Midwest, if you're up north in the Northeast corridor, the I-95 corridor, we're probably bracing for a pretty significant snowstorm. And the temperatures are going to dip quite a bit, and there's going to be precipitation. So what's rougher than a snowstorm is ice. Ice is deadly. Ice is treacherous. And ice has the wonderful ability to snap power lines. And then you're dealing with a whole nother set of circumstances, to include trying to stay warm, trying to eat, all types of stuff started happening, getting your medication and getting some of us have to get dietary things that happen for our medication and keeping our medications cool. Shouldn't really be a issue keeping your medication cool, because if it's really cold outside, put it outside if you can. But some of y'all might be in apartments and other obstacles may be in your way as well. My main point is to say I am so praying for everybody. Be safe going into this weekend, as in every weekend, and take all your precautions. Get your supplies that you need, and plan on 24 to 48 hours without power in some areas. It can be a lot when you don't have things that you just gotten used to. Things like the internet, TV, streaming. A lot of people think, well, it's snowing on the weekends, let me just stay at home. When they cut all the power off, it make it a little different, and you can get a little antsy. But stay safe. Don't go out there and drive if you don't need to drive. Leave that to the professionals, which will be me. I got the short straw, and I'm going to be working this weekend in emergency services. So the last thing you want to do, and one of the caveats to what we do as professionals, that don't take more victims, meaning that you don't need to be out there, while we're trying to do a rescue or trying to prevent an accident or responding to an accident and stuff. But please don't booger it up in any way by you getting out there showing everybody how you used to drive in 1995 because you're from Chicago and all of this stuff. Don't go with the ego trips. And if it is nice, hey, get the little dusting, and we can all go home and drink warm apple cider. But it can get a little rough, so take precautions, and I am praying with you. I will be amongst you, so it will be all right there. So, what are we looking at here? Another season where the San Francisco 49ers came up a little bit short. Yeah, that's the summation of it. I myself personally, that's what some people say. I had a rough 72 hours. It was hard seeing my team get beat 41-6 on Saturday night. Dealing with that through Sunday, but I knew Monday, hey, the U's going to be playing, and maybe I can get a little bounce back up. Maybe I get that sixth elusive championship. We're on a quest for 6 as well as the San Francisco 49ers, and this is as close as we've been in a long, long while. So, boom, bam, maybe it's going to go. And no, I got out there to that dad going Mendoza, and he had a heck of a game, man. Mendoza really played his bootay off. A tough kid, Miami kid. He grew up a block or two away from University of Miami. He used to play rec ball there. His dad's associated with our head coach. I think they played together at the U. But for whatever circumstances, you get a kid that grows up right in your back yard, and you decide to let the kid go out to Cali and become a star. And here this little chicken comes back home to roost, and you're on the back end of that one, buddy. So, hey, charge that one to the game. That's on us. That will be on us. And I guess Indiana had a 16-0 season, not done since Yale of the early 1900s. That was last century. And it's the first national championship in the history of the University of Indiana. Let me see, or Indiana University, in its rich history in football, at least. I remember Coach Bob Knight and the boys scarring them up in 76 and 80. I don't want to say 4. I could check the internet and be real, to the letter, but I'm not. But they had some good teams, and they're known. The movie Hoosiers is based on an Indiana team. They're more known for basketball than anything else. And Indiana State had the great Larry Bird there, but Michigan State beat him. That's really what started my love affair with basketball, that Larry Bird, Magic Johnson rivalry. And then Magic goes to the Lakers, and I've been a Laker since 1980 because that was the Magic Man. Magic Man had this smile. Magic Man, yeah, Showtime. Yeah, that was my dude. So, hey, you get a team, you stick with it. Nonetheless, congratulations to Indiana University. And we'll take our second place trophy, which I'm sure is a cup that someone spit in. It is not cute. Another shout out to my girls last night. Beth, Laura, and Coach Desi. I was on Girlfriends in Football last night. I hope y'all got a chance to check out the kid. If you haven't, go and check it out. Search Girlfriends in Football, and it's on mine as well. They just a wonderful bunch of ladies who know their stuff about football, and they're incredible medical professionals. And Laura's a writer, and man, we would chopping it up about so much. One is a Buffalo Bills fan, that's Beth, and Laura's a Detroit Lions fan. And, she really weighed in on how perturbed or disturbed Buffalo is with the firing of Sean McDermott and what he meant to the town and the type of man he was and stuff like that. Really, brought some emotion and brought some reflection to me and hopefully you guys as well, because we loosely say these things like fire the coach right after a bad loss, or hey, well, fire this guy, fire the GM, just fire people, fire. And I don't think we really fully grasp the ramifications behind just displacing and dispersing things and just blowing it up. Because, Beth brought to light that, all right, now we out here and we're looking for a coach. Who's going to be a coach? Who she brought up the instance with Damar Hamlin, how influential and how consequential Sean McDermott was with the community of Buffalo. They had that shooting up there. He was just really good with the community, as well as having a degree of sustained success with the Buffalo Bills. And, it's stuff you just really don't gather. You see it on the news. Oh, another coach gets fired, but you don't think about, well, dag, if that were me, and maybe I'm just in the minority, it could be that way, because a lot of people these days don't really covet compassion as well as years past. And they kind of think of it as, so what, it ain't me, or he be all right, he got a lot of money, or, as long as it's not me, who cares, and stuff like that. But I don't know. It's just something that triggers inside me. I always kind of put myself in somebody else's shoes. And maybe I shouldn't do that. Maybe I do it a little too much, but it's just kind of how I came up. Dad would say, how would you feel if somebody did that to you? My dad, who's behind me there in the picture, there. Yeah. He would say, how would you feel if that happened to you? How would you feel this way? How would you go this way with it? And I guess coming up, I just always have that in my mind. I spoke to my mother today. Hope you're feeling better, Mom. Mom has been a little bit under the weather, and this cold ain't helping much, but help is on the way, Mom. And we were talking today about just different values and how people will look at the same thing, but come away with a different instance, a different aspect, a different perspective. And, it's hard to get everybody on the same consensus, because the same thing doesn't mean, one thing doesn't mean the same thing for everyone, even though it's happened. And, we got to keep that in mind when we're loosely speaking into existence. Hey, fire the coach. Hey, get rid of this dude. Now, sometimes it's worthy. Sometimes it is the only way to go. But if you're going to do that, definitely have an exit strategy or a plan in place with no caveats, no filters that you can implement once you do said firing. Don't just make a willy-nilly emotional decision, on an instance, and then, hey, we'll deal with the ramifications later. It's the old shoot first, ask questions last. That's how most of these gangsters came to pass. At last, a rapper rapping about chicks and bras, sex and cars, menage a trois. That's a little biggie for y'all. Bebop Jones in the house, ladies and gentlemen. That's the first and foremost, man. We shouting out Bebop Jones out this joint. What's my little noise makers? Do I still got them? I hope I do. Bebop Jones. There you go. Little Bebop Jones in the hizzle for shizzle. And we got 49ers Red Zone in here. Good morning, boss man. Hey, boss man, you the boss, man. You the boss. I try to lead. I don't try to be the boss. You know, that term gets loosely used a great deal. Yeah, I'm bossed up. I'm a boss. But in the Army, they tell you you ain't running nothing here but PT and a buffer. You ain't the boss of nothing. They tell you that the whole time. Don't try to be no boss. Be a leader. A boss just knows how to smoke cigars and walk around. Hey, look at me. I'm the boss. But a leader is setting the example. He is one that bees, knows, and do. You got to be, know, and do what leaders do. And filter that thing down to everybody else so they get it. So you don't come into a playoff game and make big mistakes. So that's leadership. You want to filter it on down so it don't look so bad on national TV. But speaking of national, we got Red Jet Shell in the building. Red Jet Shell. You get a big old ding and you don't get the air horn, but you got it's cool air horn, a little something. I'm gonna open it up in a little while, Red Jet, and you can come on and express yourself, express how you feeling. Hey, and speaking of the aforementioned, Miss Margaret Tara is in the building, feeling better, thanks to God and you. Love you, my son. I love you, woman. I love you, woman. We're talking about that snowman, and back in the day, her dad, my granddad, used to make something called snow cream. And snow cream was dope, man. Granddad could make it. It was like ice cream. He used I think it was carnation milk, vanilla, and the snow. And he would mix that thing. It was some of the sweetest cream you could make on a snowy day. And it wasn't the bitter cold, like, I hate to sound cliche, but like people will talk about we had to walk 5 miles in the cold wind and use hot potatoes to warm our hand. No, it really wasn't that. It was just the snowfall had fallen. It was like, I don't know, at least 32 degrees, but still clear. You could get out there, try to make a snowman, slushy snow. And just a tip from me to you. If you want a tip, don't eat yellow snow. That's always a good tip. That's how I get waiters and stuff. Oh, you want a tip? Here's a tip. Don't eat yellow snow. But yeah, granddad used to make that snow cream. And I was talking to mom earlier. They actually have it in some grocers, so you can get the snow cream. I forgot it was Food Line, Carly C's. It's probably in Ralph's, wherever fine ice creams are sold. You can get some snow cream. What we got in there? Bebop Jones, y'all just talking amongst yourself. Go ahead, do it while I fill in the first 20 minutes with nothing but the hits, ladies and gentlemen, nothing but the hits. Let me see. I got a new little segue thing here. Check this out. This is good. Here's my segue. Y'all ready?
Question. Thanks. I hear there's rumors on the internets.
I've been saying that for a long time, and people say, "Why do you say internets?" Y'all don't remember George Bush said internets when he was running for office. This is election 2000. He said that rumors on the internets. So when I go into the internets, I'm gonna just bring up that old George Bush snafu, and let's look at some of the rumors on the internet, shall we? Let me share my screen as I do, and share. And this is what we got here. The rumors on the internet on a scale of 1 to 10. How would you rate it if the San Francisco 49ers hired Gus Bradley as the defensive coordinator? This correlates right into what has gone on with the new hiring of Robert Saleh to Tennessee. So congratulations to Robert Saleh. He wanted to be a head coach, boy, and he got a humdinger. So applause for him, and applause for him for the season. Saleh, hit it one more. Really coached well, man. He did a lot for us. He brought it out of the doldrums. Because I tell you, if we would have had that going Sorensen again, dude, it won't gonna be pretty. Nick Sorensen, that dude. No, man. Nope. Bob Saleh came up in here and really put his energy, his know-how, his expertise on the San Francisco 49er defense this year. The first, I'd say 5 games. No, it was a total of 5 games, but the 2 previous preseasons, and y'all help me out. I'm getting a little older now, but I remember the last 2 preseason games and the first 3 games. It was the defense that had to close those things out, to include us playing up in or down at SoFi Levi South. And we had kind of taken on the position and accepted the condition of, our defense is going to have to pull us out. And then this got, further exacerbated with the injury to Nick Bosa. And then Fred goes down, and we're still trying to muddle through some things. And you got to bring in Mac Jones. We just had some devastating injuries, man. Some, real stuff happened. And but we were finding a way to put 3-4 games together while Brock was out. And hey, away you go. We took I think it was a loss to Houston, took an L to Jacksonville. Brock tried to come back a little early, and the toe won't towing. And we did that. That happened. So shout out to Bob Saleh for the defense. A lot of us are going to look at him and say, well, he's so good. What happened to us against those 41 points against the Seattle Seahawks? Hey, man, Seattle came to play, and we just simply didn't. I think he will take I think Saleh will take him to Tennessee, who Gus, I think they're depending on Gus. Judging by the press conference yesterday with John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan, I think they're leaning towards Gus being the new defensive coordinator. And to a letter or to a man, I think that was kind of the way they were going to go with it the whole time. I think that was kind of the plan, is what I'm trying to say. I think that was the plan, because you wouldn't bring in a former coach and have him in as a resident assistant unless you were trying to use him. They didn't really even give him a title. He was, I think it was like assistant to the assistant coach, defense guru, something. But you know how we do. We play loose with the titles, just like at the DMV, But I do remember Kyle saying Robert Saleh is the head coach of the defense, and never really gave Gus that, you got DBs, he never really said you were, defined his mission, his work purview in any way. So I think that was kind of the case. But I'm hoping we, open it up and interview for the job. We want the best guy. And as I was talking to David McNiner and the boys last night on the Wednesday night Corey Davis Lockdown show, we ain't have a lot of picks to put in. You ain't got but 2 picks. So, we kind of just went around and around on some different things. One of the guys, Spongy, was saying he wants a coordinator who will come and stay and have some serious stand power and wants to be there. He's tired of these one and done guys. But I informed him, man, since the days of way back, Bill Walsh, really, success means they're coming for your assistance. You can count on it because they want a little bit of whatever it was that he gave the show. And that's just it. Notice nobody's really trying to snatch up who was the worst team in the league this year. You know, who was Tennessee coaches. They fired their coach, right? Nobody was saying, ooh, let me get that coordinator from Tennessee. Ooh, gotta have that Tennessee guy. Oh, yeah, we want more of that Tennessee. Let me have one of those Raider guys. Ooh, yeah. Those guys are good. Yeah. No, because that success didn't follow, but everybody will come after your franchises that were pretty significant and showed some real moxie out there. Everybody's coming for a 49er assistant. Everybody's coming for a Packer assistant, who I think one of the Packer guys just signed. Let me check my coaching carousel here. Did I have him in there? Jeff Hadley. Jeff Hadley has gone to the Miami Dolphins. He was the Packers defensive coordinator. Now, you might say, hey, the Packers really won't all that, but keep in mind they did bring in what's my man from Dallas, Michael Parsons, and then he got hurt. But you know, there's still a very capable defense, and they show flashes of it. And this guy, Jeff Hadley, is the very recipient of said success for them. So, you know, he slides into Miami. They're coming after your assistant coaches if they're worth their salt. So that's how that happens. Let's see what else is on the internet. The internet. Here's a big rumor. Breaking news. The San Francisco 49ers are targeting a trade for wide receiver in the offseason, because that's what the show is, the offseason, the beginning of it. And they are interested in Vikings wide receiver Jordan Addison, per Grant Cohen. So this is maybe he does know something. You know, a broken clock is right twice a day. Anyway, thoughts on if we traded for Addison? How does everybody feel about Addison? As I holler at Miss Tanisha in the building. How you doing, Miss Tanisha? Good morning, Terra Dome and Golden Domers. We're all in our places with bright, shiny faces. She says, when it comes to these coaches and assistants, other teams know that in order to beat the best, you have to be the best. So I love that. That's a little take on Ric Flair. If you want to beat a man, woo, you gotta beat the man, the best. So they are always gonna come for your players and your coaches every year. Thank you, my sister. You have reiterated the same thought process. You see how that is? One mind, one body, one Lord, one love. You know, we're simpatico. If we were on Color Purple, we would do like that. Yeah, Tanisha said, hey, if you got success, they coming for you. If they don't, we don't want you. What else is on there? Kyle Shanahan said that he would be very surprised if Mac Jones isn't on the team next year. He would be very surprised. I would too. I want Mac Jones. And it was an incredible insurance policy to have your franchise quarterback signed, good, and getting along good with the backup quarterback in the building. And if anything ever were to happen, this backup could come in there and sustain 3-4 wins for you. And that's exactly to the letter of what happened. You never want just this super duper garbage backup quarterback just to suffice and just sit on the bench. Don't say nothing to nobody. But Mac Jones came in there and performed brilliantly to a degree that a lot of people are like, he's just as good as Brock. Why don't we just get him? It don't work like that, dude. just relax yourself, because everybody is straight Brock haters anyway. It don't matter who would have came in there. You know, we could have saved some money by switching to Geico. Yeah, I got you. And he said he'd be very surprised. I want to keep Mac Jones. I do. That would be very, very good. You want to keep Mac Jones in the building. You want to have the best quarterback room going into every season. You never want to be in a position or a condition the way who was it? The Indianapolis Colts. Their guy goes down. Danny Dimes goes down. What do they have to do? They look at the bench, say, okay, University of Florida guy can't come in here. Let's call a guy who's been out of football for 5 years to come in and right this ship, you know. And Phillip Rivers did an adequate job, I thought, for a 45, 50-year-old man. I think 44. He was 44. He came in and you know, he knew the offense cerebrally. He was all there. He could coach it, could tell it, could write it on the board and stuff. It's just that them old bones get a little rickety, and boom, bam, you can't do it like that. But there's another side to it. We have to consider Mac Jones, and I think he wants to be a starter in the National Football League. And plus, because he signed with us through next year, you better be willing to pony up for me to give you a starting quarterback for your feeble franchise, no matter who you are. In other words, I think Kyle said this kind of as a message to everybody, all the other 31 Baskin-Robbins teams. I expect Mac Jones to be here next year. If you do come a knocking, you better have a boatload of picks coming my way or some real draft capital. And some people would say a second rounder or something like, no, I ain't thinking about no second rounder. You better come with your first this year or your first next year and a couple of picks to get a quarterback. It is the most highly valued position in all of football. I'm not giving it up for a second. I'm definitely not giving it up for a third or something like that. That's a capable starter in the National Football League who's been the University of Kyle Shanahan with Brock Purdy presiding. You see where the Seattle Seahawks are, right? Are you trying to be there? Just saying. What will you give up to get that? That's what I think. That's what I think he was saying overall. That's me playing hardball. And some people say, you're never gonna get a first round pick for Mac Jones. Dude, you can get a first round pick for whoever you feel like. In life, you don't get what you deserve. You get what you negotiate. And I'm here to negotiate around here. They can call me the negotiator. That was a great movie too. Kevin Spacey and Samuel Jackson, the negotiator. What else I got in there? I'm reading the chat. Y'all got anything? Hello, Tanisha. He's hello and Tanisha. And we get DC's paid. Sucks we have to lose them every year. Yeah, but you know, it's the gift and the curse. We're getting DC's paid and we're getting them head coaching jobs. But hey, you came to us to get hired at first. So if we can do it for a D'Amico, we can do it for a Robert. If we can do it for a Robert, hey, who's the next one? Next item up for bids is, as he used to say on The Price is Right. Yeah. And speaking of assistant coaches, defensive-minded coaches, this is who it's how do I put this? I don't want to make it a racial thing, but the NFL kind of got on the 49ers, I think it was a year or two ago, about that rule they signed or they put in the legislature with if a minority gets hired as an assistant or as a coordinator or as a head coach or as a front office guy to another team, you get a compensatory pick. The Niners said, not that we just looking for any minorities, but if we get some good minorities in here and they get jobs, we get extra picks. And keeping into that theme, I've really had my look in my my eye on Brian Flores, man. I think he's absolutely wonderful. I think he's really, really good, man. He designed a defense that was just crippling up in Minnesota. Not so much last year. I think they had some injuries and stuff like that. But the year before, dude, nobody wanted to smoke. Nobody wanted that smoke. I think we went up there and got beat the year before last, if I'm not mistaken, with Sam Darnold was there. And I was kind of hoping that, if things didn't shake out on the head coach thing, maybe he'll come and be with us. So this is why this kind of pertains to the San Francisco 49ers. And I just think he's a good guy. He's a good DC. He went through some things in Miami with them asking him to tank, and he wouldn't do it. And he was adamant, look, I want Justin Herbert. I don't want Tua. And, Miami kind of they were a little butthurt behind that. They were mad, but in the end, wasn't he right? Wasn't he right? So, but congratulations to him. He's staying with the Minnesota Vikings, so they seal him up. And as it goes, sucks to be us. More about San Francisco GM John Lynch saying wide receiver Brandon Ayuk has played his last snap for the 49ers. Thank you. And in a related story, the Hindenburg crashed. Laugh right there. I need a laugh track. Where's my laugh track right there? Where's my laugh track? I ain't got no laugh track. Dang. I just got applause. I need to put my laugh track in here. But that was funny though. See it because they saying the duh, who didn't know that. Yeah. So yeah, Brandon needs to go ahead and seek different pastures, going and be fruitful and multiply, whatever it is, go somewhere else because he trying to be a diva and ain't doing nothing but messing that thing up. I was kind of out on Brandon when he was running the B-roll of the Washington Redskins when he was trying to negotiate his money. Are you nuts? You making Instagram photos with another team running B-roll, dude? No, they're practice B-roll. No, bro. We good. Bebop Jones says, I thought he'd get to Baltimore, and I'm assuming that's Flores. Yeah, he would have been a likely candidate for Baltimore. Also, I thought they might have looked at him for Pittsburgh as well. Maybe their baggage, maybe they felt a little some kind of way of it. I wanted George Pickens for BA last year. That would have been a ideal, as hindsight being what it is, if we would have had a Pickens just on production alone, maybe his attitude or something else like that, because the Pickens really don't like to block or nothing. But I know, if you're looking for 1,000 yards and 9 touchdowns for a year, this is your productive guy. We definitely didn't have it this year. We didn't have a quote unquote number one wideout or big time threat marquee name this year. And no disrespect to my man, the calculator, Jauan Jennings. Jauan Jennings played as excellent as he could. His stuff was very incentive laced, and he left it all on the field, man. Jauan Jennings is my dude. I think Jauan is going. I really do, because he felt like he deserved more money last year, didn't quite get it. So he's probably going to see greener pastures as well. But as far as BA, come on, dude. Come on, man. No, you got to go. My Pittsburgh homie said he'll no. He said, hell no. Hell to the no. Laugh out loud. Then they released him anyways. Hey, man. It's all good in the hood. It went down the way it went down. I think Dallas is very, very, very happy how it went down. So, they got the goods on the guy. And I think Dallas will pay Pickens. But we're still searching for that big name marquee separation, scares a defense receiver. We're still looking for that. And until you get it, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Bills have just completed an interview with offensive coordinator Joe Brady for their head coaching position. I love Joe Brady. I have studied his stuff on film a lot. Remember, the big thing for us was getting separations by receivers. And there is I think it's on Next Gen Stats, where you can actually track what is the average amount of separation per wide receiver. They have a cushion, and this, hats off to them. They are looking at these stats. It's one guy looking at a receiver the whole time and said, okay, that's 6 yards of cushion. And he got a reception, and it was 3 yards between him and the defender. And this really came into play not this year, but last year. So I really started deep diving into how do you get separation? How does somebody get separation in the National Football League? Are we just getting bad receivers who can't separate, or is everybody smarter than us? Or you start to analyze. These are the analytical thoughts that you have. And I went and looked at teams who get separation and their receivers. And I seen Buffalo up there, and their receivers aren't as good as ours, 2 years removed. And this was including people like BA and who else? Debo and Ricky P was a rookie last year, Jauan Jennings, and so on and so forth. And I said, how are these guys in Buffalo doing it? When you turn the film on, it was the design of Joe Brady. He was creating the separation with his route concepts. In order to get a good separation against man coverage, you need to make players run through stems with things like mesh. Some people will call it pick plays. Some people call them rubs. It depends on it. If you play offense, that's just a rub route. But if you're on defense, that's a daggone illegal pick. Either way, he puts a lot of that brilliantly in his passing schemes to include not just the receivers, but tight ends and running backs coming out of the backfield. So, I had a little bit of this discussion last night when I said Joe Brady's really, really good. And they were like, oh, he sucked. Buffalo lost. No, hey, Buffalo put up 30, right? Uh-huh. And those receivers who aren't like household names, who aren't Jamar Chase, who aren't Jordan Jefferson, who aren't T. Higgins, who aren't Pickens, who aren't CD Lamb. Those guys putting up some pretty impressive numbers, right? Not JSN. Somehow they getting open. How did they get open? You scheme them open. You have them run in between stems and running through two stems. Joe Brady's your guy. So, they interviewed him. If they don't hire him, I would really strongly suggest if you can get a hold of Joe Brady while he's out there, I'd be glad to have him. That's my 2 cents nickel tour worth. The Bills are scheduled to interview Jaguars OC Grant. Don't let me mess this up. Udinski for the head coach opening Sunday. Prior to that, Udinski will have a second interview Friday with the Cleveland Browns. Man, I'd stay away from Cleveland Browns. And Talofa faithful, Captain Niner Massey is in here. Captain Niner Massey, what's up, man? Yeah, Cleveland is not the destination you kind of want, man. That's just me. They just got too much turmoil up in the front office, and they still have a Deshaun Watson hit that they have to come up with some money for Deshaun Watson because he signed that very lucrative deal, but it is a cap hit out this piece. So they have to circumnavigate that along with any rumblings that go on with Shedeur. So, but I can't fault the guy who wants to be a head coach if he does get Cleveland, and it's a dream job. There's only one of 32 in this league, and this is unprecedented at this time to have. A couple of them have been. Let me put my coaching carousel stuff on here. Because we got so many, I'm losing count on who gets hired, rehired, reshuffled, and stuff like that. So did I got this saved? Save it, auto, okay. And let's go to my computer. My computer just saved it. Is that in the gallery or the download? And I'm bringing that up while it's bringing up. Yeah, because I'm looking at the coaching carousel, and this thing's as jumpy as a roulette wheel in Vegas on a Saturday night. I just came up with that one. That was smooth. Let me see. Captain Nana Mass. It says Browns, Jets, Raiders are teams I would avoid, and that's why I'm bringing it up. I wanted you're thinking right along the terms of how I am. We are simpatico, my brother. Tanisha just hit me up a little bit. She was feeling my vibe, so I'm glad I'm not crazy. I say that boy is crazy. No, it's a couple teams you want to leave alone around this piece, man. You want to leave alone. And here we go, adding to the stage the coaching carousel. And I should have some nice carousel music. These are the ones that have hired people. In Atlanta, they are going with Kevin Stefanski, who was formerly a Cleveland Brown head coach. The New York Football Giants have signed John Harbaugh. He had a nice press conference. I see all the guys coming out there really showing their support. They got some excitement going on up in New York. He ought to do pretty well up there. I think he made his decision a little bit before he knew that Buffalo would have an opening. But nonetheless, he's good. He's staying pat. The Tennessee Titans, as I mentioned earlier, have taken our great defensive coordinator, Robert Saleh. He's going to make the best of that situation. Along with the Miami Dolphins, they have Jeff Hadley, formerly of the Green Bay Packers, DC. So he's going up there. So the ones left, the coveted ones to me left, Baltimore and Buffalo have arguably, and much it ain't too much of an argument for most people. Wouldn't y'all say they a top 5 quarterback in the National Football League? You know, if we usually when people rattle off those names, who the best 5 in the National Football League, it's gonna be Lamar included in that, along with Josh Allen, because you know you're gonna say Mahomes, you're gonna say Burrow, and I think you just got you got to go with those other 2, Lamar and Josh, and then you know you can sprinkle in whoever you kind of figure. Somebody say Justin Herbert, somebody say Brock, Dak Prescott, whatever your case is, but I think those 2 are a consensus. So that's the first thing you got to get right when you're going to an organization as a head coach. You need to have a quarterback that's stable and ready to go, and an offensive line to protect them. A number 1 receiver, a deep threat for him. Yeah, what have you. So they seem ideal for me. As Captain Nana Massey indicated, Cleveland, Vegas, I don't know. Pittsburgh, you got Aaron Rodgers there this year, but you really don't know. But a story franchise nonetheless. If you get a job there, man, you might stay 20 years. Hey, can't beat that. They when you come to Pittsburgh to head coach, go ahead and buy a house, right? Because they're not the type that flip over, turnover guys. So that's good to. And then you got Arizona. I think rent. If you're going to Arizona, rent, because they will fire you next year. They step away from you quick. Of those 4, as far as draft capital, you're probably looking at Vegas. They're going to go with Mendoza. They got the top pick of the litter, so they're probably going Mendoza. I don't think there's any other really breakaway quarterbacks that are coming out this year. My personal fave in college right now is at Duke. He's trying to come to the U. We've got sanctions and court things we have to work out, but his name is Darian Mensah. He's the guy. That's who I'm staking my claim on. That's the guy. And this was before I found out that the U's trying to get him and he's trying to transfer. But the kid's got a lot of what you're looking at, a lot of what you're looking for in a National Football League quarterback. He's got it. Naturally, you got Arch Manning next year, regardless how you feel about that, as well as there's a kid named Chambliss in Ole Miss. He's pretty good as well, but the heat is going to be Mendoza for that first pick overall, and that should be the Las Vegas Raiders. So that kind of makes them a little bit more of a what would you say, dream destination for a coach. It makes it more appealing for them. Arizona, you got to deal with Kyler Murray, and like I said, with the aforementioned Cleveland Browns, what are we looking at here? You got Shador up there, but it's a bit of a mess. And then you're gonna have to deal with the Deshaun Watson money / play fit in, is he good thing. So, and if you try to trade him, nobody's going to pick up that enormous contract on a guy who's coming off an injury, who wasn't playing that good anyway. So it's a little dicey, it's a little sketchy, but it can be done. Down at the bottom, I put a key hire from a fired head coach, former Mike McDaniel, who was in Miami, joins Jim Harbaugh with the LA Chargers. This is an interesting development as well. I think that is going to be really, really formidable to have head coach Jim Harbaugh get back his healthy linemen like Joe Alt with Justin Herbert, and you add the aforementioned Mike McDaniel in there as an OC. Chargers looking up. Chargers looking up. You got to do some drafting, probably get some more beef in the defensive line, a edge rusher and a linebacker or so. But it is very, very, they did look good at the beginning of the year, as well as they started faltering a little bit after the injuries. So towards the end of the year, but hey, man, watch out for these Chargers. Watch out for these Chargers. Of course, they're not in our conference, so it's no big deal. But that was my coaching carousel wrap up there. I'm right at 56 minutes and 15 seconds. I'm going to stay on a little bit longer. Unless, and I'll throw it out there to the Golden Domers. Y'all got something on y'all chest. Y'all want to come in and talk about, commiserate. I got a few minutes. I got 20 or 30. Y'all can come on in and just holler at Terror Dome. If not, we're going to just moving right along. Moving right along. Moving right along. I got my DMV payment for, I try to renew my license, man. My license is coming up to be renewed. You don't want to have to go to the DMV, Lord Jesus. So I'm hoping that this thing, the payment went through, so it should be good to go. Because if you're looking for the kid to go to DMV, man, that thing, now serving B152 at window 39 or something like that. Oh, it sounded like the old. Remember, you used to get the weather and the time off of the telephone. I'm dating myself big. Y'all might not remember this, but once upon a time, not long ago, where people wore pajamas and lived life slow, we used to call it was CMP. CMP was the phone thing, and I forgot what you used to. I think it was maybe information or something. It was like maybe 411 or something. This was before cell phones, but you used to get the weather and the weather and the time, and it'd be CMP telephone time 11:30, temperature 42, and you could get the weather right there. Just call it. That's how that DMV voice sounds when you take that red ticket. That it got that big red box, and you take that ticket and you look at it, and it's like D132, and you look up at the lights and stuff, and they on D1. You know what I mean? You know it's good. I'm gonna be here all day long. Anytime you got to go to Subway and get a sandwich before you go to DMV, you know it's too long, man. That's just crazy. But they do have the online ways you can get it, as well as they have kiosks set up in various places. You can go to a kiosk in like a grocery store, and if it's just registration you need, or just the rudimentary stuff, the kiosk will kick out a registration card or driver's license or whatever, what have you. So that helps, but Terror Dome do not want to go to the DMV today. I got David Corona in the building. David Corona, he says, "What's up, everyone? What's up, everyone? What up, Terror Dome? I'm here for you, my brother. We got Mark Gravy Graves. Gravy Graves. That's that boy. That sounds like a dice player right there. Grits and gravy. Boy, come on, roll a seven. Roll a seven. He says, what would be your first pick in the draft for the San Francisco 49ers this year? I think OL, offensive lineman, should be the pick. Well, as fate would have it, Mark, today in this very ring, that's how Jim McMahon used to say it. Now, I've already done my first mock draft, and I just did the first round. And what I came up with was, let me see if I still got it. I still got it. I still got it. That's how Potsy Weber used to be. Now, that's Ralph Mouth, actually. It ain't in here. Is it here? Dang, I thought I had it still saved. I don't. It's not there. Well, I did the mock draft. I should have saved that. If I go back to PFF, I know I can't get it, but it was Francis Maigoa, offensive line, the U. That was my first guy, Mark. I just did one round of a mock draft. We're going to do probably thousands. If you're going to be on what we start mock drafting, I've already started. So everybody's going to start mock drafting. We're going to start PFF grading. I think a lot of us enjoy the off season and drafting and getting free agents more than we like the season if we're doing bad. If we're doing bad, people really get into this draft. If you want to hang out with some draft crazy people, the San Francisco 49ers content creators are draftaholics. And some of our content creators, like I think Wayne Breezy, definitely Chapman, Johnny Dales, they go down to the Senior Bowl. They'll try to get credentialed to get to the actual combine. They can't get enough of draft. I'm vested. I'll see what they show on TV, but I tend to just keep my my ear to the ground and hear who's moving, who's gonna do this, who's leaning this way, and try to formulate the way I would go with it. There are two trains of thoughts, Mark. It's what I would do, and then there's definitely what you think Kyle and the boys will do. And a lot of times they're just not the same. They're not the same. I've been saying offensive line for at least 3 years. I was saying offensive line after McGlinchey left. When McGlinchey left, I was saying maybe it might have even been where he was here. And we just don't go after offensive linemen. If they do, it'll be later on down the trough because what's my man name? Oh, I am just so not a fan of Chris Forrester. They think they got some secret formula of judging offensive linemen that nobody else knows, that only they can know. And they're trying to tell me what a good offensive lineman is. And year after year, I'm seeing crap. Matter of fact, I ain't really want to go there, y'all. I was hoping I wouldn't, but these people now made me go there. Let me see what I got for y'all. Let's pull it up on the telestrator here. We're going to look at the Seahawks disaster that was and hide this. And let me get a big pause here. This was our first play from scrimmage. Let me share my screen here. Stop the screen. Let's share screen. Window. Here we go. And this is on the telestrator. I prefer Chalk Talk, but I'm using the telestrator, y'all. Y'all take a look at this. Speaking of offensive linemen, Mark, go ahead and tune in real good, Mark. This was the first play from scrimmage that we had. Obviously, you know, they have run the kickback. It's 7-0. We're getting the ball. 1st and 10. Here we go. Did you see Brock get crushed? Now, it scared me a little bit because I had instantly had shades of, let me get smaller here. I instantly had shades of what happened in Philly back in January 29, 2023. But to see Brock get crushed like that. But let me explain something to you. This is the play again from the end zone. Look at the protection. Brock comes back. All right, let's go back a minute, a beat. Let's slow things down. 50%. I want you to take a look at our center, number 64 in here. Right there. Everybody following? Give me a thumbs up if y'all following me here. Here's 64 here, right? Here's 71, our all-pro Trent Williams. Everybody following? Watch what's happening here. 64 ain't really helping none. He's on this guy. He's trying to help out our guard here. That's Spencer Burford. All right, what have you. Spencer or Trent Williams is handling this business over here, right? Keep looking. Look who knocks Trent Williams off of his man. Lets this guy go by. That is, I'm pretty sure it's 0. Let me get right. It's either 0 or 9. I think it's either Leonard Williams or DeMarcus Lawrence. I'll see in a second. But take a look at who hits Brock. Look at that elbow. Remember that surgically repaired elbow? Does everybody remember the Philly game? Do everybody remember? You know. So it was 0. Yeah, it was DeMarcus Lawrence. He knocked Trent off. Look at it. He's turned around and he's in this direction. What the? Anyway, Lord, my mama watching. But dude, and then look at they looking like, what are y'all doing? What are y'all doing? I've been asking for a center for years, man. I've been asking for a center for years. But they keep telling me, you know, everything's cool. You know, we got it. We improving. We're good. We're good. This one was, I think this was the 3rd and 1. A little later on there, and Colton's just getting whipped in here, man. It's a 3rd and 1, and it looks like Colton's got him. 68 is just supposed to wash this stuff on down, right? It looks like he's got position. He's got leverage because this guy's higher than his helmet. Everything's good. And to CMC, it looks good. That's the hole. CMC is going up in here. because he's got three choices. He's going to bang it, bounce it, or bend it back. Bending it back ain't really no option right there. It's you got the hole there, so you know this is the answer up in here. So look what happens. That hole closed up quicker than a hiccup. You see what I'm saying? You're like, it was just open. Why? How did you shut the bank down so fast? That hole's gone. So, I mean, I ain't seen nothing like it. Either these guys are Supermen and in two places at one time, or we're just not sustaining the blocks long enough. So we have to go to what we call the Juice Crew All-Stars, the Juice option play, because they took the time out just before this play, and Kyle was kind of livid, so we were going off the rails by then, because the coach Mike McDonald does get the time in just before the ball is snapped, but usually, man, they don't they don't do that. They don't do that. So he has to come back, draw up another play, and this is what we get here. It's the Juice special. I have never seen this play work. It does not work. You're gonna give it to Juice, and he's gonna do some optioning. He's Turner Gill now. He's Charles Thompson. He's all those good Jamel Holloway from Oklahoma, and he's gonna option it to the short side of the field. I mean, CMC can't even catch it, and it's a turnover on downs. We're just it just started getting even rougher and rougher. This is it from down the line. You can see it. Juice on the offset comes here. He fakes it once, and then it's just looking bad on defense. I tell you, I don't even know if Nardo Green even, and I'm not gonna call him Ronaldo. I'm gonna call him Nardo. I can see why Kyle was up in his ass like a hemorrhoid. Look at this guy, man. He's got huge cushion. Check him out. Is this on my notes? Look at this. He's just kind of all over out of wits. He's like, what's going on? And it's like, what are you doing? Oh, no, that's not the play. I'm sorry. Let me get back. This was a third. This was a 2nd and 6. And he gets the ball 2 yards off of the line of scrimmage. He's got to make it all the way here. And what happens is we just don't come up and tackle. They get a first down off of it. You see what I mean? You got to hit the guy where he needs to be hit and rally. When it's up in front of you, we're just taking bad angles. He ran away from him. 4-3's got a bad angle. 5-3's tackle. Who's that? Hendricks, and that's D Winters. We just, noony. And we're not finishing off. They just seem tougher. They were just running the ball harder and getting more stuff. Is this my play here? Watch Green. It's I backfield. So in an I backfield, we're thinking run. You're supposed to be thinking, and you make the call rabbit. You're thinking run. 2nd down. Did you see Ronaldo Green. Look at Ronaldo. Nado. Your biggest threat is this guy here. If you see him blocked down, your clue needs to be a-holes and elbows and get upfield, and you're to be the force guy because you're the last defender on this. There's not another receiver out here, so you don't have to worry about a vertical threat. You don't have to worry about anybody going up there. Look what he does. He's backing up on an I backfield. All right, he makes a couple of steps forward, snap of the ball. You see your guy blocked down. Look at Nardo. He backing up. Did everybody see this? You see Ronaldo backing up when you see your guy blocked there. I told you it's specific. If I was out here giving you instruction on playing corner, I said this is how we're gonna do it. And our backfield is rabbit. We're thinking run. I would make that call. You would hear me blaring that right now. Rabbit mean run. Bird. That means they're throwing. You give a rabbit call. It's got to be a run in the run formation. It's a second and 10. Second and 10. And look at him. He's backing up. This is your man to cover. And you see him blocked down. You got to be thinking, let me get up here and force. I'm forcing all of this stuff back to the inside. Back to the inside where all my help's coming from. Because if he gets a seal or he leads up and gets around, then it's 88 out the gate. Nardo just floored me. He backing up. Now it's too late now, right? Because we got a hat on a hat here. We got seal inside. We got a hat here, and we got an extra man to play with. So how's this gonna go? It's little stuff like that, y'all. It's little stuff like that, man. It's little stuff like that. It just grinding my gears. I better stop. Let me cut it on off. It's just little stuff like that that I noticed in this film. It was a bit of a horror film. It was a bit of a autopsy. I saw some other things, just not sustaining blocks. Long and short of it, we got to get some better, more aggressive, a better, more aggressive cornerback, because they didn't do this to Demo side. Is what I am thinking. Whenever they wanted to get physical, they looked at that film and said, "Hey, that number 0 y'all got out there, I don't think he'd like to get mixed up in stuff. I think y'all been hiding him. So we're going after him." And they did all night. And then that's when you saw Kyle get on. That wasn't even the worst play. It was a 2nd and 20 later on. Yeah, it was a 2nd and 20. And he doesn't get the drop enough. And they complete the 2nd and 20 over his head when everybody was tapping their head and say, play top down. That's when Kyle just lost it. And I don't blame him. I really don't. They was like, "Oh, you shouldn't go irate on players and stuff." No, it was warranted. It was warranted. Oh, Nardo gave a bad performance, man. He wasn't ready to play. But in my mock draft, yes, I do have who I got. I got Francis Maigoa, the University of Miami. He is a tackle. He is a right tackle, the starting right tackle for us. He was All-American, and I think he's very, very high on Mel Kiper's board already. I think it's him and another kid from Fresno who are like the leading tackles, but we'll do something like the guy get here and they'll make him a guard or some stuff like that. When he's been playing for the U and trying to go to a national championship, trying to win a national championship, we just do stuff like that. Mark, I don't know why, but that's who I got going. I'd like to see another offensive lineman. I'd like I hate going after receivers, but I think we're gonna have to go after some more receivers. Every year we say we're gonna be in the trenches, and they're gonna be looking for a receiver. But you know, the one thing you have to consider with the receivers, the one overlooked thing, we get enamored with their 40 times or a spectacular catch that they made once, or their little highlight films. The thing that we have to really consider is toughness, route running, and toughness. How tough is a receiver? All the toughest guys were really, really good receivers. They had other traits as well, but they were tough guys. They were guys who probably would fight somebody. We can't have little punkified dudes playing receiver. We can't, because we need them to be tough. In this organization, in this scheme, we ask our receivers to block. We ask our receivers to be physical and, take a blow as well as give one. And when you get those, little pretty boys and I don't want to get touched. I don't want to get pressed. I can't get open. He holding me. I can't get. It ain't gonna work, man. It ain't gonna work. And then you back looking for a receiver again. So consider toughness. You don't want to get a guy who can't catch a cold naked in Alaska, but you do want a tough guy. Some of the greatest receivers that have ever played the game were remarkably tough. Michael Irvin was tough. Jerry Rice is tough. You don't want to see Larry Fitzgerald coming down a dark alley. That guy will knock you out. Steve Smith Sr., he's a pretty tough guy. Anquan Bolden, tough. You got to be tough. There was one up in Seattle, Baldwin. Great route runner too, but he was a pretty tough guy. You ain't gonna talk to him any kind of way. You know what I mean? So just consider that, as well as perimeter speed, overall speed. We got to get faster. It felt like Seattle was just waiting on us when we tried to go out wide and bullying us when we tried to stay inside. And a lot of times we had the leverage and we were in position, but they're, bench pressing us and throwing us off. And why I gauge it like that is because we're going to have to see Seattle twice a year. We're going to have to see the Rams twice a year. Those Cardinals are getting just as good. They got a whole bunch of draft choices. They got a whole bunch of people. They're going to get athletes. They might not have the quarterback thing figured out, but they always get a couple of athletes. So you're going to have to see that twice a year. I'm just saying, man, sometimes the bill is due and people catch up to you. I want a wide receiver who shows up every game. That's what a tough dude do, right? He going to be there 16 games, 17 games. Hey, I'm here to do some business here. I bet you won't. I bet I will. You might have to, he might get, as they used to say, might be out there giving them the business or something like that. Odell Beckham, for all his antics and his craziness and stuff, him and Josh Norman used to mix it up. He ain't taking no crap off no Josh Norman. And Josh Norman won't trying to take too much crap off of him. But you know, regardless of who you like, they would mix it up. I don't see Ricky P mixing it up with nobody. I just don't. And then when it's time to go, when I need that number one to become number one, and you know, lift himself up as well as put his name amongst the upper echelon of the game, you can't do it because I'm a little hurt. I don't really feel like it today. I'm gonna just Ricky P it. Fine. But anyway, everybody, it's been an hour and 25. I've been going hard. I gotta get my little throat right. Drink me a little tea here. This is cherry juice that I recommend everybody get some cherry juice. It's good for inflammation and good for circulation. So get you a little cherry juice, not from concentrate. Strict cherry juice. It's pretty good for you. But I want to thank everybody for hanging out with me for an hour and 25 minutes. Thank y'all for hanging out with me last night. Whether it was on David McNiner on the Corey Davis Lockdown or Girlfriends and Football. I will be back next week sometime to kick it some more, unless somebody invites me over again and I just show up, you know, with a 6-pack beer and something to play with. Amen. So y'all enjoy the rest of your day and stay safe on this weekend. Some inclement weather all over the country. Stay warm and plan ahead and think ahead, ladies and gentlemen. And I appreciate everybody in here and everybody who came to hang out with the Terror Dome, man. And remember, we walk by faith and not by sight. In Jesus' name, amen. Thank y'all so much.